Hello and welcome to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale. As you may know, Lower Merion Township's Building and Planning Department is a big department. It has a building division, a planning division, community development division, and it takes care of zoning as well. Making all of this work like clockworks takes a team of very talented people, and we're lucky to have one of those outstanding people with us today. Charlie Doyle is the Assistant Director of the Building and Planning Department who oversees the planning division. Charlie, great to see you.
Nice to see you, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're really excited to talk about what the division does and some of the different jobs that you and your colleagues take care of. So I guess where we start is just kind of tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
All right, so our core responsibilities really are taking care of land development and subdivision plans. We also work on long-range policies that help the community and work through the comprehensive plan as well, working on the recommendations that are provided through that guidance document.
We're going to get to the comprehensive plan in a couple minutes, but you mentioned about like reviewing subdivision, or I guess let's start with what is land development?
Okay, so land development is an interesting concept, and it may not colloquially be the same as what somebody would understand as land development. The state MPC, or the Municipalities Planning Code, actually establishes definitions for land development, and that really includes two different kinds. One being a residential subdivision of any property, or the development of two or more residential lots. In addition, it includes the subdivision or land development of any non-residential commercial area.
And what is a subdivision?
So a subdivision is any time somebody wants to change the boundary lines of their property. We would go in and provide guidance to make sure that it's complies with our different codes. So we have the entire township code, but then there's specific codes like the subdivision and land development ordinance and the zoning code that provide parameters around really what you're allowed and not allowed to do.
And what would a good example of that be if someone was trying to expand their footprint? What would?
Yeah, so the first thing that we would do is work with the applicant through a preliminary process. Even before the submission of a preliminary plan, we require the applicant to submit a sketch plan. Mm-hmm. In the community here, we take sketch plans pretty seriously. In other communities, they may be more informal, but we do provide specific parameters which they're required to fulfill, whether that's information about impervious surfaces, any trees that would be removed, anything like that, parking. So those kind of things are required of the applicant up front. They're then required to go back through the preliminary process and then the final process.
And speaking of the process, that involves attending township meetings, is that correct?
Oh yeah, we have plenty of those.
And what would those meetings be like for an applicant perhaps that's watching at home?
So really what happens is the applicant provides their plan to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission then reviews such plans for consistency with the health, safety, welfare, general morals of the community that are established within our code. From there, the plan goes to our Building and Planning Committee, who reviews the plan again and can provide a recommendation of approval or denial to the actual Board of Commissioners themselves.
You work closely with the Planning Commission. That's a group of volunteers, correct?
Yes, it is.
Could you tell us a little bit about that or how you support them?
Yeah, so they're appointed by our Board of Commissioners. It's a group of 7 members. And they are all residents of the community interested in planning, usually some kind of background or some kind of resume that helps kind of bolster their knowledge on what they're providing to the community. So from there, after their appointment, they're on the board for 4 years, and through that tenure, they're really, you can see how they kind of learn more about planning, or
I'm sure
can work their way up, and some have even become commissioners themselves.
There's a lot of development going on in Lower Merion Township. I had an opportunity to speak with Ernest Pendleton recently, and everywhere from Ballackinwood to Bryn Mawr, the whole stretch of Lancaster or Montgomery, there's always something going on, which we're really fortunate, right?
Absolutely.
That we're lucky. You as a member and an employee, as well as someone who's a stakeholder in this whole process, when you drive around Lower Merion, what sticks out to you when it comes to everything that we have going on?
Well, when I'm driving around, I'm always thinking about transportation improvements that we can have here. Whether that's, again, working on an intersection improvement, finding out where we have these kind of pinch points or points of conflict are really important in understanding that. But as well, looking at the quality of the land developments that are going on, and really thinking about how they can best fit into the community character of Lower Merion Township, whether that's kind of those lower density areas or the higher density areas. There's a fit and form for each land development there is.
You used the word character, and you caught me on that. Lower Merion, we have a lot of character here, and there's a lot of history that goes into the township and our footprint on this portion of Montgomery County. So, how important with the modernization of the township is it to also keep that unique character that you just discussed?
Oh, it's penultimate. It's really something that's just really important for remembering how this community was established. We have such a high quality of life here, and to make sure that we've kind of preserved that is just awesome for the residents and people that come to the community. We have design guidelines that are provided to applicants to make their projects fit into the character of these historic districts that we have throughout the community.
We throw around plan a lot, and certainly in your division and with your colleagues. What is the Lower Merion Township Comprehensive Plan? I know that it's being discussed at all different levels, including the Board of Commissioners as well as the Manager's Office. I know it's a lot, but can you kind of give the residents just a little bit of information on it?
Yeah, so the Comprehensive Plan is a long-range tool that we use to provide recommendations, identified objectives and goals that the township has established through since 2016. So the last adoption of that comprehensive plan was in 2016. And it is truly a comprehensive plan. I have never gone through such a well put together document that really does provide guidance to any aspect that you could think of through the community.
You certainly know a lot about everything that you do, and you've shared some of that. How did you learn all this? What's your background? Were there classes, or where'd you go to school?
So yeah, I began as an undergraduate at Westchester University.
Go Rams.
Where I took a class in urban planning. I was a geography major at the time, so it kind of brought me into that realm. But it really opened my eyes up to, I had an awesome professor who really pushed us to learn and think about things that one wouldn't normally think about. And it kind of really opened up the world to me in something that I didn't know anything about before, which was that things don't just happen on their own. You can't just go out there and put a building down. You really have to think about how you're going to do it and how it complies with township, or in our case, township code.
Sure. And is this something that you always saw yourself doing, or did you kind of fall into it?
Well, no.
Okay.
When I was younger, I did believe I was going to be a professional snowboarder at one time, but I realized that was a short-lived career for myself. So I moved on to something a little more sustainable and absolutely rewarding, which is planning.
And the working conditions are a lot better. Being inside, the township building has heat. We got that going for us. What draws you to the job every day?
Just all the different aspects of being a planner. There's really a lot to offer. I'm involved in so many different projects, whether that's working with the Ardmore Housing for the elderly, we're working with a skate park crew trying to establish a new skate park in the community. We also have awesome transportation projects, the Mainline Greenway, and even improvements through the Ardmore Master Plan that we're going on. All that work has just been so amazing.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Ardmore Master Plan in a couple minutes. We do, though, really quickly, just have to take a short break, but stick around. We're getting to the good stuff, and I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale, and I'm here today with Charlie Doyle, the Assistant Director of Building and Planning, in charge of the Planning Division here at Lower Merion Township. It's great to see you, Charlie, and we kind of got into a lot of the meat and potatoes, if you will, of what you guys do upstairs. But we have a few more questions about some more specific things.
Yeah, let's get into the smorgasbord.
Let's do it. So how many people are in the division, your colleagues? Tell us a little bit about them.
So we've got a wide array of really great experts in all the disciplines of planning there are. Our senior planner, Colleen Hall, works on long-range policy mostly and helping out with residential land development. Jillian Dirks, our economic development specialist, has great history in working on commercial development projects. She's great at working with lawyers and land development corporations to make sure that there's quality development that's going on in these areas. Greg Pritchard is our resident historian, and he really works with the HARB, our Historical Architectural Review Board, as well as our Historical Commission. We have Emily Crane, who's in charge of our Community Development Block Grant work, so that's really working with affordable housing and helping out with that. And then we have two other planners, Holly Colello and Angela Forney, who work on administrative, but as well provide the important background information and analysis for land development projects. As well, we just hired one more planner, Jason Emmel, who's our geographic information system specialist. He really makes maps and provides that detailed analysis that we use for geography.
GIS, that is?
GIS, that is.
That's really popular right now.
It is, and it's becoming a staple in the in almost all analysis that we do in this community.
And how does it benefit the department or the community?
Well, it's GIS can be used in two ways. Most people think of it as a mapping program.
I'm thinking like 3D images.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's also really important in data management, so that you can understand where floodplains are, where you can understand where development should be and where development shouldn't be. But you can also use it for socioeconomic analysis. So it's really an extremely powerful tool that we're working on and really improving every week.
That's great, and it sounds like you have such a skilled team and a lot of, like you said, experts who are working hard to continue to, the beautification process here in Lower Merion Township. A lot of presentations go on with you guys and your division on Wednesday nights, mostly at different meetings. Can you tell us a little bit about who from your team creates those presentations, what it takes to do that, and maybe a project or two that you're working on now?
Yeah, so another thing in planning is teamwork makes the dream work. So our staff works together to produce these pretty elaborate kind of presentations to our board to make sure that we're anticipating their questions and the needs of the community that may arise during the meetings. That being said, we create in-house great graphics and maps to go along with the analysis that we've done to present to our Board of Commissioners. Some of the projects that we've worked on recently are the Ardmore Master Plan, as well as the review of second stage and tentative sketch and preliminary plans that are residential and commercial plans throughout the township.
So you brought it up, and I know I promised that we would talk about the Ardmore Master Plan. I know there's a lot of civic engagement with it right now. There's some different committees that are meeting. You're a part of that, I assume?
Absolutely, yeah. Our whole staff is.
And how's it going? Can a little sneak peek behind the curtain?
Yes, so we've finalized the details to the plan. We heard what the residents have said and what our commissioners have requested of improvements to the preliminary plan that was provided to them several months ago. It'll be up for consideration for receipt by the Board of Commissioners coming up very soon. And with that, there'll be some details that we'll need to cover up and make sure that we are kind of following through with the recommendations of the plan.
What's included in the Ardmore Master Plan? Ardmore, obviously, there's a lot going on, especially within the past decade. Super fortunate for that.
Yeah.
What are some of the specifics in regards to that?
So a lot of it is synthesis of different groups within the community and establishing kind of framework for all the residents of the area to focus on the commercial area specifically for Ardmore, and whether that's the needs of someone trying to get through kind of our many alleys that are in the community, or finding a better strategy for parking. There's a lot of needs that we've identified and we'll work through the next months and years to improve.
In terms of streetscape and transportation, what are some of the traffic mitigation, like how are you guys looking at that specifically in Ardmore?
Crosswalks are super important to us, but also the improvements that go into, again, those alleys and those kind of informal connections for the residents, as well as rethinking how parking is within the Ardmore downtown center. People they were pretty vociferous about concern for changes to accessibility and mobility throughout the area.
Will public transportation be affected at all by this? Are you working with our public transportation partners?
Absolutely. I mean, SEPTA right now is working on the improvement to the Ardmore Station. From there, we will certainly be working with kind of getting things back to normal off of Station Road and moving people back from the access through the alley that's existing right now.
That's right. That little circle there by the
Merion
Merion Arts. Exactly. So there's a lot there.
Past, present, future as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of our local businesses.
Yep.
How important is it working with the local businesses, especially on something like the Ardmore plan, but even in communities, Ballackinwood's business district, or in parts of Wynwood, some of our larger shopping centers? How important is what you guys do? Also, the return on investment for our business owners?
Yeah, so we like to complement. We have a lot of other kind of ancillary groups that are associated with these areas. In Bryn Mawr, the Bryn Mawr Business Association, right here in Ardmore Initiative, as well as the City Avenue District along Bala. They're all great partners. We work with them extensively to make sure that what their kind of goals and objectives are aligned with the township's needs and the goals from us.
We have a few minutes before we wrap up. We talked about some of the volunteer boards. You mentioned HARB. How does someone sign up for that if they're interested in maybe working with you and your colleagues?
So there is an open application process. Like I said, some of these tenured groups are a little longer than one would you can't just show up and assume that you would be selected. But they're actually, on a rolling basis, that there's opportunities for people to apply, and then ultimately would be appointed by our Board of Commissioners when that opening ever happens.
That's great information. We've covered a lot of different things. I guess to kind of finish things off here, or to tie everything up, if there's one thing that folks didn't know about your job, that maybe comes easy to you but the community wouldn't know, what would that be? If they kind of something that if you were to explain your job to someone?
Well, the key role of a planner is to simplify things and make really complex problems solve complex problems with solutions that everybody can understand. So really translating code and translating ordinances and translating the needs of the greater community to somebody that may have a very specific kind of agenda or interest. We try to accommodate for understanding their needs, as well as trying to inform them on how they can understand the implications of a larger picture, bigger picture needs for the community.
That's great. Before we go, I assume you don't spend all of your time in the office. Where can we find you if you're not in the Township building? What are some of your hobbies, Charlie?
Well, usually I'm with my beautiful wife and my 3 girls who keep me very busy. When that's not happening, you can find me in the Jersey beaches, surfing, up in the mountains, snowboarding, at one of our local skate parks around here. I also like to play guitar, make music, and I sew. I'm a seamster. Very amateur one.
It's all good. A man of many talents, and certainly we're reaping those benefits here as the residents of Lower Merion Township. So, Charlie, thank you so much for your time. I truly would love to talk more, but I think we've covered a lot of the big projects that are going on here in the Township, as well as everything that's going on inside the office with you and everyone upstairs. I want to remind you that you can find more information and answers to frequently asked questions about building and planning on their webpage. I'm Brady McHale. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Have a great day.